The average family in this country loses a loved one once every 7 years. Some more often, some less, but if you average it out, it's once every 7 years. Our funeral home has been around for over 70 years, and after helping thousands of families, you start to notice the patterns. In fact, there are 7 steps that every family goes through when they lose a loved one. It knocks you off your normal path of life and onto a very painful path. Someday you'll get back to your normal life, but today it's definitely not normal. We've seen every family go through these exact same steps. It's important that you know that these steps have nothing to do with cremation versus burial or even how much someone spends on a service. It's all about the path your family is on right now. The path begins with private shock, a deep feeling of, my God, I'll never see them again. At this point, many people feel physical pain. The heart races, you become short of breath, and you become lightheaded. Tears aren't far behind. For some people, this lasts just a few minutes. For others, this can last years. Next, word begins to spread. Many times this task will fall on the shoulders of 1 or 2 family members, making the phone calls, spreading the news. Word first spreads through the immediate family, then the extended family, brothers, sisters, children, grandchildren. This might take a few hours or even a few days. Inevitably, what happens next is the family gathers to support each other and to make pressing decisions, like who's going to the funeral home to make arrangements. I want you to know that it's my mission in life to help you help your family. Let's talk about what's coming next. Receiving condolences is the next step on the path your family is on right now. The process of spreading the word continues for days after the loss of a loved one. All the family may know pretty quickly, but now the community of people around you gradually begin to find out over the next few days. Your friends, your coworkers, your neighbors, all have one burning desire, to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. You may have already heard it from some people. It may surprise you to learn that 65% of people who come to a service didn't know the deceased directly. They knew the family or a family member. As people learn the news, they all experience some degree of private shock. Their first thought will be, I hope they're okay. Not is the deceased okay, but is the family okay? Next, they will continue to spread the news amongst other friends, co-workers, acquaintances. All of these people are jumping on the path with you and your family, and they all want the opportunity to say that they're sorry for your loss. This need to express condolences is part of our basic human nature. The next step is called public mourning. While the people around you will need to express their condolences, you and your family will be going through an emotional time of mourning. That's how something as deeply personal as mourning the loss of a loved one becomes a public event. You will feel like everyone is watching you. You will be processing your private memories of your loved one, and well-meaning people will want to support you. The mourning step can be either very painful or very helpful. In a painful mourning, people focus on the death and how you and your family are dealing with the loss. In a helpful mourning, we've shifted the focus to celebrate the life that your loved one lived. Here in America's heartland, the soil is rich, down-home values still preside, and agriculture is abundant. Each of us plants our own fields of life and harvests the memories. It is those memories that we cherish because they give significance to life. Focusing on those memories and the stories of your loved one takes the focus off of their death and puts it onto their life. It helps you to mourn, and it takes the focus off of you and puts it on your loved one's life where it should be. Mourning is all about processing memories. Focusing on the stories of their life helps you do that. Eventually, it will be time to say your final goodbye to your loved one. The final goodbye is the next step in the process. Whether you are choosing cremation or traditional burial, when you say goodbye for the last time, you're really closing the book on the set of memories that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. How you go through these last 3 steps, condolences, public mourning, and final goodbyes, directly dictates what happens in the last step. The last step is private grief. Anyone who has ever lost a loved one can tell you that grief is very real. Some people find that there's a physical pain associated with it, just like with private shock when you first found out that your loved one had died. Grief is triggered by the things that remind you of the deceased. It could be a chair or a crochet needle or the smell of old aftershave. But the most painful triggers come a few months later when people keep saying that they're sorry for your loss. You might be ready to get back onto the normal path of life, but well-meaning people will keep pulling you back into grief. That's why it's so important to provide a time and a place for people to visit with you to express their condolences. Otherwise, it could go on for years. The path we all walk, beginning with private shock, then word spreads, next the family gathers, you'll begin receiving condolences, you'll experience public mourning, you'll say your final goodbye, and conclude with private grief. If your loved one has already passed, you and your family are on this path right now. At Carson & Son, we specialize in walking this path with you. We know how to guide you through this time so that your family and friends can focus on the life your loved one lived and cherish the stories one more time.